Hi and welcome to my PlayHouse. And today we're in the Datacenter. In the last video we installed ESXi 6.7 on this Lenovo SR650, and in the comments I got multiple requests. Well, it was because I said it in the video that I really should have firmware updated this server, and there was requests on are you actually gonna show firmware updating the server? And well, yeah, I did that in video number 918. So I have already done a video on firmware updating this awesome Lenovo SR650, but I guess we'll do it again because multiple people hasn't seen it. And there are multiple ways of firmware updating this server. I printed them out. It's a list. There is 9 different ways. Here they are. There is the Lenovo Clarity Provisioning Manager. That's when you boot the server and you go into the BIOS thing. That's called the Provisioning Manager. Then there is Lenovo Clarity Controller, the XCC. That is through the management adapter where you access the web page, and you're able to firmware update it that way. There is also a one-CLI, which is a console version, where you I think you install some stuff and you get a prompt and you can do that. That's one of the options that does not have a graphical interface. Then there is the Lenovo Clarity Essential Update Express. I have never tried that, but that's also where you can get your Windows drivers and stuff, but that's another option. Lenovo Clarity Essential Boot Media Creator, the BOMC. I've done multiple videos doing that. That's where you create a bootable media, for example a USB stick, and you boot on that and it will fix everything. Then there is Lenovo Clarity Administrator, which we're going to be using today. That's the big package that you use when you have multiple Lenovo servers and you can manage multiple Lenovo servers from one place. I did also do the last video on this one, but well, it's time to get in there again. Lenovo Clarity Integrator, and that's for VMware. So when you're inside VMware, you can install a plugin in VMware, and well, you can do it that way. Then there is Lenovo Clarity Integrator, but this one is for Microsoft Windows Admin Center, and also a plugin thing. And then we have the same thing for Microsoft System Center Configuration Manager. So no less than 9 different ways to upgrade this. Okay, so we have moved in at the computer here in the living room. Nice and quiet, right? So let's just change to the screen where I have Lenovo Clarity Administrator. I have this installed on my server as a virtual machine out there, and we can just see it. And we can see something else. Today my Lenovo X3650 Model 4, which is running everything, has an uptime of 500 days. I thought that was cool. That's the server we are working on replacing with a server that is 2 generations newer. I am running the Clarity on this virtual machine here. I named it after the version that I put on here. That was a 2.5. It's not that long ago, and I did do a video installing this and showing how to set that up. So you might want to go search for that if this is an option that you find something that you would like to use. So let's go back. Yeah, it just runs as a virtual machine. It has 8 GB of RAM. It's not using much of that. It's using 3.28, but it's fine. So let's log in here. Lenovo Clarity Administrator. I'll just put it a little bit further over here. I have 4 servers out there. That's 4. That is able to communicate with the Clarity Administrator. I do have a few more, but I have 4 that I have had on there, and 2 of them are okay. One of them is complaining, and that is the M4, and one of them is missing. And that is kind of okay. We can see it if we click here. We have the MPH SR650, that is okay. Then we have the M5, that is also doing okay. And then we have this one is the Model 4, and it is complaining, and that's not what this video is about, so we don't need to go in and check that. but it's a hard drive error, and it's like in May. So I did a video where I took 8 hard drives out of that server because it was just running too many hard drives, and I never, at that time it had an uptime of just over a year, so we let it run, and that's what it's complaining about. It's missing 8 drives. So in here we can update the firmware, but first, this Xclarity Administrator has it's out of date, so we'll start by updating the Xclarity Administrator, because I haven't done that for a while. To do that, you go in Administration, Update Management Server. Clickety click. In here, we need to tell it that we want to update. We can see last time I messed with this was 5th of October 2020. It's a bit ago. So we need to ask it to go and update refresh repository. So I'm gonna click that one, and it's gonna ask me if I'm sure. I'm pretty sure about that. It's not gonna do anything. It's just gonna contact Lenovo and ask what new packages are available. So we're gonna do that, and that's gonna take a little bit. So now it has been working a little bit here. And we can see 5th of October, and it's currently on version 3.00. So one of the irritating part is that this doesn't update itself. So we're gonna try and press F5 and see if it updates. Yeah, it did. Now it has checked for packages today. Yeah, that's today. And we can see that there is multiple new packages available down here. We were on 3.00, and well, that's way down here. So there is stuff that we need to get to update our server. I really like the Xclarity Administrator. I like to install every version on it. So if I was on 3.00, I will go and fetch this one, 3.02, and then I'll fetch the next one, which is this one, and the next one, and the next one, and then I'll get up to 3.2, that one, and then we go to the top where we will go to, oh, there's a lot. That's 3.3, and there's 3.33, and then we get to the current version. So let's do the first upgrade, and I'll save you from some of them. So we'll take this one, we'll mark that, it's download selected, we'll get that one, and we get a little progress bar here. It's picking that up. It's 396 megabytes. Shouldn't take that long, but yeah, I found that it does take a bit. Okay, so it has downloaded the first one, but I was stupid and started the next one, and that was a big one, so that is taking a while. And if I start updating this one, it normally wants to boot the system, so it will crap this one if I do that. So we have to wait until this one is downloaded as well, and then we can put in the first one. You can see the sizes here. This is just a tiny patch. This is 400 megabytes, and the next one is 2.5 gigabytes. So that's kind of a full patch. And then there are some smaller updates, 1.7 gigabytes, rather big, small updates. And the 3.2 is another 3.1 gigabytes. So a full update, a full version upgrade is about 2.5 to 3-ish gigabytes. So, and the other packages are packages for different stuff. So there is Lenovo switches, there is Lenovo storage, there is Lenovo X system servers, and there is Lenovo Think systems, and then this is the management, the one we are in right now. Okay, we have downloaded those two. It has just completed. So we need to install the first one, and we do that by clicking here, selecting it, and then just perform update. It's so simple. And it tells us that the Lenovo Xclarity Administrator must be rebooted, completing blah blah blah. So yeah, I kind of knew that. So restart. So it will restart. So it restarts the Clarity Administrator, and then it should be upgraded. It doesn't boot very fast, so we'll be back when it's up and running. And after some time, it's ready to go again, and we can already see up here that the version has gone up from 3.00 to 3.02, which is awesome. I just wanted to show you something else that is really cool with Lenovo, and that is that this is the SR650 ThinkCenter, and all the drivers for it you can just download for free. I am not signed in. Up here I can choose to sign in and register, but I am not signed in. It does know that I'm from Denmark, but it knows that from somewhere else. I'm not messing with it. And here is the firmware, Wi-Fi firmware for this server. We can just click download, and there is the firmware. Download it. No hassle like some of the other brands that you have to have a service agreement or stuff. They do give you all the drivers and all the firmware without any charge. So back to Clarity Administrator, login. Okay, that took a bit. It wasn't completely ready for me, but we're ready to put the next one on there. It doesn't have to take too long. Oh, I just thought it had messed up. It didn't. Okay, next one. Just gonna update that one. Perform update. Yes, and it restarts again. I'm not gonna bother you with every single one of these, so I'm just gonna be right back when we're all done. Okay, we are now up to date. Let's just go in here. We need to go in there anyway. Update manager. There we are. You can. It says that we are on the latest version up here, and that is true. I have gone through all of them. Never mind. We need to move on. I'm going to be updating the SR650, and that is a Think system. One of these. It's the top one here that I need to download. And there is different Think system thingies, so we need to see some more here. Think system server version 2. I'm not sure if it's a version 2 or version 1 that I have. So I believe that if I download version 2 here and it's not the one that I need, I won't be able to update the server. So let's try and pick that one. And okay, change of plans. There is also these release notes just right next to it. And if we go in here, we can see that this is for the SR blah 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 blah, and there is the SR V2. I only have a V1, so yeah, I need to get the other one. That one, and that's for, I guess that's for the V1. So let's try that one. Okay, that did actually tease me a little bit. I was trying to download this. Well, first we were trying to download this, and then we were trying to download this, and it didn't want to. And it turned out that I needed to reboot my Clarity Administrator a couple of times, and then it behaved. It was using up all the resources. Oh, it is doing that again. Let's see how far we get if it wants to play with us. We need to put these new firmware into our repository. Right now we have just downloaded them. To do that, we do kind of the same thing. We just mark it here and we perform update. And it looks about the same. So, and it wants to make sure that we are ready for this. So yeah, start update. And if we are lucky, we get a progress bar. Okay, it's really teasing me today. Right now, it says that it's in progress, but I have an idea that it's just using up all the resources again. Oh, it's actually not right now, but yeah, definitely bothering me. I must admit, this pisses me off. I roll on the latest and the greatest, and it just crashes and uses up all the CPU resources here of the virtual machine running Clarity, and it's over a week old, that thing, and still it just crashes. I think we have to update our server in some other way. Okay, I just tried to increase the virtual machine running Xlarity so that it now has 8 cores and 16 gigabytes of RAM. Gonna be interesting to see if it will still just max it out. It's still trying to update the repository here, but well, my day is almost gone updating first this and then this crashing, or at least not being very cooperative. So we have to update the server in another way, and I have entered the XCC here directly on the server. There is a firmware update right there, and if we go in here, we can see the different stuff that we can update from in here. There is the BMC, and there is the BMC backup. There is the UEFI, the active, that's the BIOS thing, and then there is LXPM, about the same as these. I don't think we need to do anything with them. I don't know. Then we have the RAID controller down here. Seems that we can update that as well. And we have the 2 power supplies, which apparently also has some firmware. So let's go and see what firmware Lenovo has for us. So we'll just go to Google here and so we already downloaded the BIOS UEFI thing. We need the BMC. I think it's that one. Clarity controller. Yeah, let's get that one. And that should be the big file. Not entirely sure how many of these are necessary. Let's try that one. Let's see if that's enough. Let's go back and then firmware update and browse, and we'll go to the download folder there, and we just downloaded that one. Let's see if it will verify that or complain. It's checking it out. So far, so good. Meanwhile, we can see how that's going. It's still not doing anything bad. Oh, and it has applied this now. So maybe we don't have to do this. We just need to threaten it about it. Okay, in the meanwhile, our Xlarity server is just using all the CPU power of those 8 cores that it has just been given. So it's messing that up. It's not responsive anymore. So I guess we'll have to firmware update this way. Next, comparison finished. We can firmware update 2 things. There is the primary BMC and there is the secondary BMC, or the backup. If we update the primary BMC, we have to reboot. If we update the secondary, we do not have to reboot. I want to update the primary, so we'll do that one first. So let's just go next on that. And it's only the BMC. It's not the server, it's the BMC that needs to be rebooted. We can see the versions here. They call it CDI 382. And that is replacing 340. Updated, restart BMC, yes, and then that will be restarted. It shouldn't take that long, but probably just a little bit. While that is rebooting, I think I found the firmware for the RAID controller here. I think this is what I need. If we go in there, we should be able to get that would be the big file there. So just the bin file, I guess, is the one we want. And I could hear the server in the data center speeding up. So now it has speeded down again. So I think we might be done here. Okay, it tells me here that it has been updated. And that has changed, so we are on the new firmware there. There we are. So we updated the primary BMC, and the secondary, the backup, is still the older version, and the Wi-Fi is 148M. So let's update that. I already did download that earlier, so that should be that one. 174. Open. And next, and it will check that out. It's not that big a file, so maybe that is quicker. It was. Next, 148M is going to be replaced with 174F. Reboot is required. Yes. I'm running ESXi on there, so I don't know if it's gonna do that nicely. It doesn't really matter, but yes. Finish. Pending reboot. Let's check if it's rebooting that. Yes, it is rebooting, so that will be fixed in just a little bit. So we have already updated the BMC or the XCC and the Wi-Fi BIOS. In the meanwhile, oh, this is doing something. Maybe it will fix itself at some point. So looking at the system here, it's firmware updating on its own. It's telling me that it's flashing and updating right now. I should not shut it down or remove power. And yeah, that's a really dumb idea when it's doing this. Don't mess with it. Okay, the server is booting at the moment, and we can see here that the Wi-Fi version is now 3.10, and it's the 174F version, and a date almost 2 years newer. So it's moving along. Okay, the server has booted, and it now has the new firmware, which is right there. So let's see if we can update the rate controller here. See if it will detect our very big bin file there. That was the file for that one. Next, let's see if it approves that. That might just take a little bit. So be right back. Okay, let's see how that went. And the version is newer, and it does require a reboot. So we have to pick that one. Yes. Next. Pending. So the server will need to be rebooted once again, but we will get a new driver for our rate controller. It has done with that, and it needs to reboot. So we're going to do that. Okay, after rebooting, the rate controller is now updated. Awesome. Look at the date. It's not that old. Rate controllers, there's not often very much firmware. It's not very often that they update that. I tried to find PSU firmware. That hasn't happened for me. And then there is this LXPM, and I don't think I really need that at the moment. And I can wait doing that until this thing, the Lenovo Clarity administrator, is up and running again. But it's just peaking the CPU. They're all 8 cores now, and yeah, not impressed with that. It's not doing anything meaningful here, and it's very not responding over here. Oh, that page is actually okay, but if we refresh it, it's probably gonna, yeah, it's just waiting. So that was kind of a bummer. definitely didn't work out as planned. Used all day to upgrade the Lenovo X Clarity Administrator to the latest and the greatest, and as soon as I did that, it just stopped being good. It just used all the virtual machines resources, and still is, and it wasn't really workable. So kind of disappointing. I did find another way, or we did go another route, and did manage to firmware update the server with new XCC firmware and new Wi-Fi firmware and new RAID controller firmware. There are other parts in the server that could need a firmware update, like the network card and hard drives and the M.2 bootable thing in there, all of which there probably is new firmware for. But it's just so much easier if the Lenovo X Clarity Administrator is working, because that one will just take the drivers and the firmware from the packets that I have already downloaded in the administrator and then put it on the different server. It's not that smart if you have one server or two server, but if you have 10 or 100, it's really practical. Didn't go as smoothly as in video 918, so if you want to see this just working like a charm, I don't remember if it worked like a charm, but if you want to see it working better, that video is available. I'll make sure to put it in the video thing up here in just a second. Please do remember to give this video a little like if you like what you saw, even though it didn't work very well. And remember that I post 2 videos every week, so if you haven't seen 2 videos, the guys over at YouTube is cheating you from videos. So remember to go check your subscription thing if there's new videos from me. Would be nice. But other than that, thank you very much for watching my videos. Do subscribe to my channel so you can see me again, and have a really nice day. Bye bye.